All right, here we are with another Gator Breakdown Plus member chat. Trying something new this time, new little format. So probably more like the Twitter Spaces, so we don't talk on top of each other and all that. So I hope this is the first time trying it, so I am recording it for an episode version, but certainly hope you guys can hear me on the other end. I see there's some audience members in here for the Gators Breakdown Plus member chat here, but of course, gonna try it. So I know you'll have to raise your hand, kind of like a Zoom or whatever. So if you guys hear me, at least maybe do that right quick, and then I'll at least, whoever. Okay, good. Ryan's got there. Okay, good. So I see it. I know it's working. I know you guys can hear me. I hope anyway. So I guess we'll figure this out as we're recording live. But certainly glad to be back with you guys during the season. We got some football to talk about. Of course, the Gators beating LIU 55-0. Some good, some bad. We've had a couple days to kind of now digest it all, rewatch it, all that kind of stuff if you're into that. Or I know the Discord has been hopping since then. Bill Sykes with a nice rewatch and some analysis of his. I'll have my own. I'll share what Cole Kublik had to say. Probably one of my favorite things during football season is Cole Kublik going all through the SEC teams and kind of giving his little summary of what he has seen on the Saturdays and the Sunday, of course, for Labor Day weekend. So certainly that's another way, football season's here. I enjoy the Cole Kublik analysis right there. And hey, we got some other games to talk about, of course, too. Of course, a lot of opponents for Florida played in some big games this past weekend. And I know the running joke was, well, if you wanted to hate watch, you didn't get to hate, or you hated the result, pretty much. A lot of Florida's upcoming opponents won some games besides Texas. Texas going to Columbus and going down to Ohio State, but LSU beats Clemson. Florida State beats Alabama. Miami beats Notre Dame. So, the upcoming schedule, a lot of people were, now the toughest schedule in the country just got harder. That's certainly what it looks like in some ways here. So plenty to get into. As I said, we've had a couple days now to digest the 55-0 win over LIU. South Florida up next. Of course, we just talked about opponents. Well, Florida's next opponent gets a big win over Boise State last week on last Thursday. So certainly a lot of angles we can go with this, but most people heard my thoughts after the game. They're live from the swamp after the 55-0 win. So you've heard some of mine, and I've expressed some on Twitter since then as well, and here in the Discord on Gators Breakdown Plus. So certainly, if you're watching the replay of this, hit that like button. That really helps us out. And subscribe to Gators Breakdown and Gators Breakdown Plus, of course. This is where you can hop in on these chats. You get the extra episodes. You get to be able to take part in the Discord chats like this, the text version as well, where the conversation just keeps going in kind of a chat format. Ad-free episodes of Gators Breakdown as well on Gators Breakdown Plus. Find everything, gatorsbreakdownplus.com. So, all right, if you guys want to chime in, hop in, and I'll kind of play along with your guys' initial thoughts and feedback of the game, other games as well. Like we can concentrate on Florida, LIU. We can move forward to USF a little bit too to start off with, and then we can kind of zoom out and take a look at the opponents that are coming up and that storyline, of course. But not much has changed since what I had to say a couple days ago. The up and down day for DJ Lagway. You can definitely tell there's some rust there. Not completely surprising or shocked with what happened. Did I expect a little bit better from him? Yes. Is it alarming that it wasn't there? Absolutely not, given the offseason circumstances that he was dealing with. So just not surprising at all. That's kind of what we got. Still only 3 incompletions. Should have had definitely one more to a wide open Vernell Brown on a crossing route that was wide open. That was probably the one we'd all like back the most. So, with him, it's, and move it forward to the offensive line a little bit too. It just kind of seemed like for some of the dropbacks, it might be Lagway holding on to the ball. It might be pressure in his face. It might be, as Billy Napier said today in the press conference, guys around him got to play better at the same time. And that kind of goes to the next storyline of the offensive line and some of the struggles they had there. Billy Napier expressing it again today on this Monday press conference that, hey, LIU did show some things completely new, some radar defense that we haven't seen, and guys moving around a whole lot. I was listening to Seth Varnador today. Great film review by him today as well, saying, "Hey, look, that's a kind of older style defense that you don't really see a whole lot of anymore." So I think once you move past that part, to me, it was still just the execution of it all. When Florida had guys, or should have had guys in position, and LIU guys be able to squirt through the offensive line and make a play in a red zone. I thought Florida's run scheme, run offense was not as good as it could have been. We all know the tackle for loss stat that's out there that's been kind of floating around. Was it 8? Was it 11? How many do you put on the offensive line? Well, some of that, I think, going back to the play calling part, and when Florida's throwing those screens and stuff, I saw Hayden Henson miss a couple of blocks that I thought should have been easier for him to make. A receiver missing a block on a wide receiver screen. So I know a lot of people don't like those type of plays. so it made me when they're called as well. But one block here, one block there, and those are probably a lot better gains. Now, if you can continue to see that that's just going to be a struggle, if the guys, the skill players can't block. I saw Jacoby Jackson, either misread a block or just not block at all on one to Trey Wilson as well. He makes his block. Trey Wilson's off and running. So I think if you continue to see those screen plays called and you kind of get that result where, all right, for whatever reason, these guys just can't block. Okay, then you can start moving away from it. Does it need to be in the arsenal a whole lot? No. Would I like to see Trey Wilson down the field a bit more? Yes, but I still think there is some value with the ball in his hands as well, if the guys around him can do their job at the same time. So kind of going to the the play calling aspect of it. But it certainly was a vanilla game plan. I just like to see the execution of the vanilla game plan a bit better. Hard to complain totally about a 55-0 loss. Are we nitpicking here a bit? Yes, it's just we know how hard the schedule is. We know what's coming up, and liked a little bit of a cleaner performance, but you can excuse some of it with Lagway missing time. Maybe the offense not completely in sync because he's not been out there. Run blocking, I thought for the most part was pretty good. It's just when they got into the red zone, they got into the goal line situations, thought left a lot to be desired in those situations as well. But all in all, put Trell Jones, Vernell Brown III, some young guys getting some playing time. You certainly take that away from a big bright spot, I thought, in this game, were the young guys that were making plays. So lots to get into. Defense, it's just they just dominated. You like what you saw there. They should have been dominating up front. They did dominate up front in certain third down packages. Hey, there was a Tyreek Sapp, a George Gums, a Jaden Woods, a Cam James, all together on the front line. I think on a 3rd and 11 or something in the second quarter, and I was like, okay, that pass rush package that we saw at the end of last year, how are they going to show that this year? And man, you got all 4 of those guys on the line of scrimmage at one time. That should be scary down the road for some opposing offensive lines. But all in all, you can't commend that group enough doing what they were actually absolutely supposed to do, and they went out there and did that. So, all right, guys, let's get it going. Let me figure this out for the first time. I see Ryan had his hand up. Harrison does right now. Harrison, let me say, all right, how does this work here? So I see the hand up. Oh, he went away. Maybe that's why it wasn't there now. Ryan got his hand up. Let me see how I do this now. Open stage. There we go. Ryan, you there? Maybe not. Okay, let's see. Open. Of course. I knew I should have done a test one. Do a right click, invite to speak. There we go.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I got you now. There we go. Figured it out.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, once you invited me, I had to accept the invite.
Yep,
so it's a little bit different, but it's cool.
Yep.
All right, yeah, like you said, can't get too mad about a 55-0 win. A little disappointed in the offense. Expected for DJ to have some rust. All offseason we kind of heard, don't be too concerned. I'm not really concerned about DJ missing spring. I'm not really concerned about DJ missing fall. Well, there was a little bit of reason to be concerned about him missing the both spring and fall camps because he didn't look great. I mean, he it did get better, but at the same time, the completion percentage, yeah, he only missed 3 passes, but 18 attempts and only 120 yards. That's not really DJ's game, and I don't think that's going to be very successful if that's we're going to keep trying to run the screens all the time. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. Yeah,
I was a little surprised at lack of even deep ball attempts.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of his specialty, and
And,
you want him getting
yeah,
comfortable. You know, give him throws that he likes to make. You know, put him in comfortable situations.
but
I believe it was
and Ryan, going that point, Cole Cubic did say, I want him to get rid of it more. So I do think there were a couple opportunities for whatever reason. Maybe in Lagway's own head of, all right, I want to work on the short and intermediate and get the ball out of my hands. Maybe he wants to work on those things a bit more. But, Cole Cubic's saying, I wish he would have got rid of the ball more. So, that was a pretty interesting take.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of uncharacteristic. I mean, I get he's trying to work on some things, but that's not really. We didn't see that kind of stuff a lot last year from DJ. I mean, he was a little bit more in injuries and him not playing since Tulane. He looked a little hesitant at times out there. So I guess that's just kind of him getting the feel for it. Like I said, not like I don't want to sit here and just complain about a win. I mean, it was a crappy team. There's no doubt that team was not good. I mean, so the defense did what they were supposed to. I just kind of felt like it was the same thing. This is the Billy Napier offense once again. I didn't see any creativity. I didn't see anything new or different. And maybe that's just because we're playing LIU and we're not giving anything away, and that makes sense. I totally get that. But you kind of would like to have seen something to let you see, okay, we've got this stud quarterback. We're going to use them a little bit more. And I didn't really see that.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so many angles of why it could have been that way. Of course, from the rust and missing some time and cohesion with the offensive line, with the receivers. I think there's, I think we'll have to guess on why some of that is what it was. And I know going to your part about the play calling, some people will certainly zoom in on that aspect of it. And I did see the 3 touchdown passes of Lagway. I know Astute Alligator put it out there pretty quickly after the game, but to kind of expand on that, 2 of the 3 touchdown passes were from empty sets. Now, I jokingly said on the Gator panel last week that, hey, the empty sets for Florida are going to be having a tight end and a running back in, and that's exactly what they were. It wasn't 5.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we did last year.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't 5 receivers out there, but it was, Hayden Hansen out wide, and it was motioning Jacoby Jackson out from the backfield, but it was the pass to Trey Wilson and the pass to J. Michael Sturdivant. Actually, the pass to Hayden Hansen was the one that was not in the 5-wide set, but certainly, as I mentioned, it was Florida kind of struggling to run the ball in those situations. They spread it out and get the touchdown passes in those situations.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a better test next week. So let's hope, like everybody always says, you make your biggest improvements from week 1 to week 2. Let's hope that's true.
Yep, for sure.
We're definitely going to need a week 3.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, and that's an interesting aspect I will get into in a bit. South Florida had to empty the kitchen against Boise State. So all this, newness that LIU showed, that's not going to be there versus USF. They empty the kitchen sink. It certainly, you'll have a much better idea of what they want to do. But as we said, just execution has got to be better there for Florida. So certainly interesting matchup there coming up. So let me get Corey in here. Invited to speak there.
Okay, Dave, I found the set button.
There we go. You're good.
All right. Excellent. I kind of wanted to kind of piggyback on Ryan in a way, but also play devil's advocate. I mean, we know what DJ does well, right? Like, we could call those plays in that game, and that's great. But we know what DJ needs to work on as well. Let's get him into some of those situations where he didn't excel last year. I mean, you're not gonna open it up against this team. We're lucky enough to take advantage of a team like this to start the season off. Let's use it to our advantage and put our guys in some suboptimal situations and see how they handle that, and then use that to coach up this week going into USF, where we hopefully play a more complete game and get ready for a big business trip.
Yeah, I think the most telling part for me was like kind of seeing Lagway in the press conference room after the game. Like, if you guys have watched it too, you can even, I don't want to take too much from body language and kind of what, face mannerisms, whatever, but to me, I thought you could tell he was pretty disappointed. Now, I mean, he kind of even said it as well, but I thought he shared that and just what he looked like after the game as well. As I said, I think we're in a good spot when we can complain about 3 incompletions. He can complain about 3 incompletions and wanting to be better and wanting to take that next step for the quarterback. But also at the same time, I am in the realm of don't be too hard on yourself, given everything that has happened. Now, with the missing the spring, missing the fall, we can say and admit, all right, maybe we not so worried. And that's the glorious part of Florida finally having a cupcake game. It probably couldn't have come at a better time for Florida, given the DJ Lagway situation. So work the kinks out, knock some rust off, and I personally expect a much better performance coming up this week against USF. All right, who else? I think Bill's in here. Might have to unmute yourself, guys. And BJ.
Hello, David.
What is up, Bill Sykes?
Oh, not much, man. Living the dream. I got a positive and a negative for you.
Gotcha.
That I observed. And let me just say this to everybody. The game didn't really change my outlook for the season. I would say more so because as much as I feel like maybe it revealed some points of concern and, this doesn't look like a team that, at least in week 1, it didn't leap forward like, the beginning of 2008 where they look like a juggernaut. But then again, neither does anybody else, right? So that being said, everything's kind of the same for me. I'm still thinking around 9-3, could be better, could be worse. But the positive for me, if you look across the board at everything we saw, there was one guy who jumped off the screen, and that was Vernell Brown.
Yeah.
He's a player. He's going to be a stud. He's probably going to be an NFL guy. He's going to be a dynamo. Everything I saw, he was my takeaway that, okay, this guy's a force year 1. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's hard for freshmen to come in and do what he did. And we've seen Florida not have as many freshman receivers that have come in and we've been excited about. It's been since Antonio Callaway since this has been done, and at one of the easier positions to get it done for a freshman to come in at receiver. And we look, and everybody circles what we saw from Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams last year. And look, that's especially Jeremiah Smith, cream of the crop, and that's the best example you can probably have. But in Florida terms, it's like we were kind of putting this on Dallas Wilson as well. Can we get Antonio Callaway-like season out of one of these highly profile wide receivers? And Dallas Wilson, we got the glimpse in the spring game, and first game of the season, overmatched opponent, we got that from Vernell Brown III. So, the moment certainly wasn't too big. He came ready. And as you said, Bill, showed it in many ways, whether it be across the middle, making a catch in traffic, or whether it be, adjusting to the ball where, okay, it might be a scramble drill for DJ, but no, never mind, it's not. So I got to turn around and make this one-handed catch anyway. And then in the return game as well, I thought he showed some nice ability as a punt returner. Now I might say he might be a weapon there as well, where at least Florida's going to be in better field position and might get a big return out of him for a big score in a big game.
Right. Maybe he's not Ryan Williams, but the kid's going to juice the offense.
Yeah.
That we know that now. So awesome performance by him. Can't wait to watch him. You ready for the negative?
Shoot it.
All right. Here's my negative. The things that we have been really frustrated with Napier over the past few years when we're talking about game day, special teams miscues, spotty offensive line play, slow starts, really suspect play calling. it was all on display again this week. And I know that it all might be nothing. It really might be nothing.
Yeah.
I know it's LIU. I get it. I'm not drawing conclusions. To me, the concern is that it just looks very familiar. The right tackle is struggling. We're throwing screen passes on 3rd and 10. We can't block them. A couple of the play calls in the ground game, it just looks like we're drawing people with motion into the pile. I didn't like it. And to me, it doesn't make sense to me. This is a side note. I don't understand why they're not letting Lagway come out and run 7-on-7. You don't have to give away anything exotic. You don't have to give away wrinkles. Let him throw the ball down the field. I know he did some, and I know he had other chances that he probably should have delivered the football. So whether that was Napier, whether that was Lagway, that's a concern too. But I don't love that this looks like what we've seen before.
Yeah, going to that part of it too is when they did want to take the shots, and and play action is a big part of Napier's offense. Then look, it's not going anywhere. Maybe to your point, it should with some more of the 7-on-7 style of quarterback play. But it also did seem like too when there was drop back and it was play action, there was pressure in his face from the how long it took to develop a play action pass. And we know it's going to be a staple of Napier's offense, so it better get better, or they better find a way to adjust.
Agreed. I will hang up and listen.
All right. Good stuff, Bill. Glad to have you in here.
That 3rd and 11 where we ran the screen pass behind the line of scrimmage, man, I about threw my phone at the TV after that one. That was a Billy Napier special, and I was that's the type of stuff that Bill's talking about, and I 100% agree. We didn't look like there was no change, from any other year under Billy Napier, and that was the biggest concern to me too.
I think that might have been the last one to Trey, and I think it was a Hanson missed block, if I remember right. If that's the one.
But still, you shouldn't be throwing
a
ball behind the line on 3rd and 11 at all. I mean, that's
Counter some of what Bill said. I will go back to, you're not trying to show too much. You're trying to work on you. That's not a 7-on-7 situation. They'd be way out of Billy's character to even do that against his team.
What's up, Noose?
I think I just expected more to hit the ground running with all the returning guys against a bad team like that. I just didn't expect so many miscues and stuff. I know we're not trying to give anything away with the game plan and the play calling, but I just felt like it could have been a smoother operation.
Right.
And it's just kind of disheartening considering the competition.
Yeah, that's exactly where I go up front. I mean, whether how exotic it was or not with what LIU was showing, and how much you want to buy into that. I mean, it seems like might be some to it, but okay, this ain't gonna be the first new thing Florida sees all year. So is that going to be an issue moving forward? But you'll get more tape on teams, and some guys. Apparently for LIU, it was just complete brand new thing they had never even put on tape before. So okay, all right, they eventually adjusted, but yeah, I do agree to the point. I just expected the offensive line better pass protection and to maul much better in certain situations, short yardage situations, especially near the goal line. That maybe lends itself into a cleaner execution. But for the most part, there was a lot of big runs by Jaden Ball as well, and Jacoby Jackson earlier on. It was just when they got down closer to the in the red zone, in the end zone, that would be my biggest complaint with the run blocking. I think it, to me, kind of starts up front for why it wasn't as pretty as we wanted it to be. But eventually getting there, and some young guys, especially there at quarterback coming in, and I caught it pretty funny today, watching Seth's film review, and I was like, I know a lot of people wanted to claim, it's a different playbook when Tramel's out there, and it really wasn't, but it's just a little faster, a little faster play calls, less play action, more get drop backs and get the ball out of your hands. All right, anything with defense, guys? You want to get to? BJ, it looks like you're.
Hey, David.
Hey, what's up, BJ?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, good to talk to you. wanted to see if you had the defensive snap counts in front of you.
know,
I was a little surprised.
Yeah,
I was a little surprised by the defensive line rotation. It seemed like a lot of Brendan Bett and Jeremiah McLeod, and I don't remember seeing Damari Lyons out there. I don't remember seeing Asari out there. Just kind of surprised by the order of when they seemed to be getting snaps there.
Let me pull that up, and I'm glad you reminded me. I meant to do that beforehand and completely forgot. You're right. Brendan Bett did get a lot of playing time early, especially. I did see Jamari Lyons out there on the replay. I don't think he played a lot, but you put in my head, I did want to go and look at the snap count. So give me a quick second to get, if I can remember where that will be at. But yeah, you're right. They did rotate, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they rotated a ton on that side of the ball up there. Let's see. Defense. If anybody else has it too. Let's see. Okay. Miles Graham led the way with 28. Bryce Thornton, 28. Jordan Castell with 28. So, hey, no surprise Jordan Castell's up there because he's led the team in snap count for the last 2 years. So he comes tied with this game with 28 snaps. Sharif Denson with 24. Dijon Johnson with 21. So there you go. It's your secondary guys. Bryce Thornton, Jordan Castell, Sharif Denson, Dijon Johnson are 4 of your top 5. Or 5 of your top 6. Aaron Childs had 20 there. Lagonta Hayward had 19. Let's see. So if I
guess there weren't that many snaps to begin with.
There you go. That's certainly part of it. 43 altogether. So right. There wasn't a whole lot. Tyreek Sapp is the first defensive lineman, of course, edge, but he plays at defensive end. He had 17. George Gums had 17. Kofi Asari, you're right, 16. A quiet 16. You're certainly right about that. Brendan Bett, 15 with a 78.1 grade. Cam James was 15 as well. Brian Taylor, 14. So you could definitely tell it looks like they kind of had this planned. Let's get these guys about the same number. Joseph Mbachu, the true freshman, had 12. Jamari Lyons did have 12 snaps, by the way, with Makai Burrow as well, having 11. Jeremiah McLeod with 10. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. Anywhere from 10 to 15 snaps, besides, Sapp and Gums having 17.
It just seemed like maybe it was a little bit different strategy with the offense. It seemed like they had the first team offense out there for most of the first half, but the defense was just kind of shuffled up and getting guys snaps where they could. A lot of rotation. Yeah,
and it certainly made sense. I mean, there was some rotation along the offensive line too, or early on. Brock Kearney did get out there a little bit early. Who else would? Cam Waits got it there a little bit early as well. You did see those guys a little earlier, but you're right. And I don't necessarily, with the way the game was playing out, fine by me, because I honestly, and I think I even said this in my head. I don't know if I said it on Discord or whatever. I wouldn't have been mad if they gave Lagway 1 or 2 more drives after halftime. Now, okay with the way it played out. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was fine either way. But if he had come out and taken another drive or 2 in the second half, I wouldn't have cared, just the way, because of the way the game was playing out, and a little bit of rust. We could tell there was rust. All right, so go just knock some more off for all I care. Are you taking a risk? Yes, sure you are. But given the way the game was playing out, no, of course it was never in doubt. But just the way the sync of the way the offense was looking, I wouldn't have cared if he'd have come out and played another one.
Yep, agree with you. Also, just wanted to say, I think we need another quality control coach, because somehow Ty Jackson and Amir Jackson both got number 7, and I know that's going to screw me up all season for sure.
So same number, same last name is what you're saying. So
exactly. Yes, exactly. God help us if they're playing special teams.
Yeah, there we go. Speaking of young guys, we talked about Vernell Brown, of course, on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, Miles Johnson with 13 snaps and a 90 grade. Jeremiah McLeod with an 87 grade. George Gums led the way, by the way, with a 91.9 grade there for him, an 86.1 pass rush grade. Jaden Woods, true freshman, 84.3. He was the 4th highest according to Pro Football Focus with his grade. He had a 90.7 pass rush grade. So there you go. So many young guys getting in there. Jaden Robinson was the 5th highest at the middle linebacker spot with 16 total snaps and an 82.9 grade for him. So Brendan Bett, since his name was brought up, and I'll go just because there's some interesting names there. 7, 8, and 9, you had Brendan Bett, Mekhi Burrow, and Cam James. Guys that certainly we want to see. Brendan Bett, the transfer, Burrow, a young guy, James, kind of splitting some time with Tyreek Sapp there. Brendan Bett with a 78.1 grade, Burrow with a 75.9, Cam James with 75.7. So glad you brought that up. I was going to completely forget about the snap counts. I was wondering the same myself. And that's what I get for not taking the notes early. I was trying to enjoy Labor Day a little bit. But certainly, that's what we do these for. I trust you guys to point me in the right direction. And you did. And you did.
Hey, Dave, how do you feel about Lovett at this point?
There's that's probably the biggest concern coming out of Saturday, honestly. We talk about offensive line, and yeah, there were some hiccups here and there with some other guys, but if you're going to probably single out one guy, it would be him. So kind of going to your point, Bill, about we've seen the I guess how it's been dispersed throughout Billy Napier's career of who starts at right tackle, and it's been transfers, and now it's your guy, and he's coming over from left or right guard, where he actually played pretty well last year, but they see some value at tackle. Spent all offseason there as well, in his first action of being the lone guy who's not the returning 4 out of 5 starters. First test didn't pass with flying colors.
Dave, you mind if I comment there?
Yeah.
Sorry to beat the same drum. I know that, a lot of my aging inputs now have been heard by some of the folks in your Discord, but for anybody that kind of hasn't heard my take on offensive line, from what I have found in my research, it's a lot easier to find your 6'3", 310 type interior offensive lineman. You're going to see more 3-star successes because those are just a more common body type, and you can pile muscle mass and weight on those guys, and they can maul. It's really hard to find the guys with that elite kick step, the elite wingspan that can take care of the Reuben Baines of the world and take care of those edge rushers. And those guys cost a premium, and those guys are typically the ones that are elite, are typically your high-rated prospects. And we've heard quite a bit about how this staff and the administration just had not viewed this tackle or that tackle as worth money. They have decided to go more, value-based there, and they clearly paid Barber whatever they paid him to come back. But I think that is going to be an important test for Napier, not just for this year, but moving forward, because while their interior offensive line recruiting has been pretty good, offensive tackle has been a full notch down, both in terms of numbers and, well, I guess they've got the numbers, but we just have not seen the elite player there that has typically dotted championship programs in the past, at least in the recent past. And so that's an issue that's lingering another week. Maybe we come out of South Florida and say, well, Lovett really stepped it up, but he's got to be the guy. And next year they're going to have to find him and another tackle. So this is not only an immediate need, it's one that's going to be lingering into the future as well.
Yeah, if you go by the...
Can I say something here?
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, just a second, and you can transition off of this. Bryce Lovett, 44 snaps. He had an offensive grade of 38.8. His pass blocking grade was 25.7.
Yeah, he was very bad, his grade, and from what I was watching. But we were without 2 of our other tackles in this game. Isn't that right, Dave?
Yeah, Fletcher Westfall did not play. I don't know how long he'll be out. Maybe some time. I don't think it's a season ender or anything like that. Trying to find out more about that, but might be missing some weeks going on there. We'll see. Of course, we don't really get a whole lot of official information as far as injuries go anymore. But there was certainly, that was the big one, but I guess people would want to see. Caden Jones did come in and play. He played 32 snaps. He had a grade of 75.5 and a pass block grade of 80.2. So certainly a much better showing for Caden Jones coming in after Bryce Lovett.
And then also Manuel, well,
Yeah, Devin Manuel.
I believe was out.
Yeah. I'm assuming I haven't asked. I'm going to assume stemming from the offseason incident, but maybe. I'm just going to assume that.
Makes sense to me. You're the first person I've heard it from.
See, but here's the thing where you got to kind of take PFF grades with a grain of salt, because if you would just see Vernell Brown's overall grade of 76.4, you'd be like, oh, he played better than that. Yeah, he had a 60.3 run block. So certainly we want to see that get better, especially if you're going to run those screens. He was involved in some of those as well, but he had a 75.5 or 76.4 overall grade. But one metric. That's all that is. He did have a 75.5 receiving grade. Did Vernell Brown III. I guess here's another one, and I'm not concerned. I know some of this will stem from it. It's been a hot button topic. The use of Trey Wilson. It was mostly close to the line of scrimmage. I still think there's value there. But yeah, I would like to see him down the field more. Because I think he's got it in him. I don't think it's so much a Trey Wilson thing. But certainly, I think at some point we just got to see a bit more of it.
I think it's just another play calling issue in this particular game.
I can see it.
Yeah, and that pop pass, I'm telling you, Dave, I'm so done with it. I don't know what they're setting up there, if anything. Like, it's old. Everybody knows you're doing it, but it's like if they think that this is one of their base plays, which I'm thinking like, okay, everything we saw yesterday is just base plays. Like, we are gonna perfect the easy stuff before we do anything else, and we have the tape now to improve on that stuff, which I think they will. But so that I just don't know what they're doing with the podcast. I hate seeing it. That's my rant.
Gotcha.
Not going anywhere. That's a Billy Napier special right there.
Yeah, I just don't understand what it's doing. Like, what are they setting up? It has to be there for a reason.
All right, who we got now? Bull. Yeah, there we go. Bull Gator.
Hey, Dave. Now, you know me, bright and sunny and always with the positivity. But no, actually, there was a positive that I don't know if anybody's missed. I would miss the first 5-10 minutes, so maybe somebody talked about it. But
okay.
I was really impressed with Trell Jones.
Oh man, yep.
Like, if I didn't know that one with the guy who played behind center. Well, never under center, but behind the center in the first half, the guy who played behind center in the second half, couldn't have told you which one was the starter, because I thought Jones looked as good, if not better.
Yeah, this game and the way it played out, I do agree with you there. Yeah, that's not an indictment on DJ Lagway or anything, but yeah, I agree with you with the way this game played out and the chances he was given. He certainly went out there and proved himself much better than I thought he would, and that was not necessarily a shot at him. I just didn't know we would get to see that on Saturday, and if we did, it might be all right. There's 6-7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Trell Jones might get a shot. No, he comes in after halftime, and he's the guy getting every snap after halftime. So, one more time, credit to him, credit to the staff for, getting him ready at least for this scenario. And, hopefully we don't have to see a whole lot of him unless Florida's just blowing some teams out coming up. But, I think it did give people some more confidence if something happens to DJ Lagway that, all right, you can now run, you can run an offense that resembles much like it is when DJ Lagway's in there. You don't have to, just completely rely on the run game. I think they would shy that way a little bit more, but maybe some confidence that, all right, well, you got a quarterback that can still move. You got a quarterback that can still run. And I think now it shows some confidence. And, those passes now, I followed him here in Jacksonville. I watched him a lot. I still think he's come a pretty good bit, from where he was before in throwing the ball, and he missed last season. He got hurt. He didn't play his senior year. And here he is, very limited in spring, comes to fall camp, and he's already the number 2 guy. And we'll see if it stays that way. I think it will, kind of just reading the tea leaves of what Billy Napier's saying. But certainly an angle early on this season already that I didn't necessarily see coming along. And I thought he showed himself well in that moment. I know it was an overpowered opponent, but at the same time, his first action, his first time in under the lights per se, and he goes out there and I thought made some good throws. It wasn't just screens, it wasn't just passes to the line of scrimmage. It was down the seam. It was having to read the defense and making sure he goes to the right place. Boy, I agree with you. I was very encouraged by what I saw from him.
Did you hear anything? You're much more insider than I am. Did you hear anything leading up to that game that he was the number 2? Because that surprised me.
I knew he was in the battle, and I knew that battle was I knew it was a legit battle, but no. If you would have asked me Saturday morning who's going to take the reps behind DJ Lagway, he would have been. He probably still would have been last. I didn't hear. Like I said, I heard he was pushing. I never heard that he overtook. And that's exactly what we saw Saturday.
Yeah. Now, how much of that do you think was the competition, and like Bailey or Warner would have done the same?
Hard to say. I think they do. I think they would have had some success. Going to your point, yes. I'm all up for, hey, if it's pretty close, maybe he's not truly better than one of those 2 guys or both those guys yet, but maybe it's just really close, and you got him for a little while, or we didn't know the transfer portal work, so I guess kind of throw that out in some way. But he's young, he needs the reps. I think you probably know what you have a little bit more in the other guys. So while you have that situation, you can throw him out there just to see how he reacts, see how he plays. And I thought the first test he passed.
He's a better passer than Warner is. His ball looks better. His motion, everything about him, he looks more like a actual quarterback than Aiden Warner does.
I tell you what,
like a starter.
Yeah, I tell you what, and so many people sent this to me, and I think it was even put in the Discord too, but I saw it on Twitter, and I got text messages too. Chris Leak. That was the name that came up in comparison a whole lot. Now, he's probably got some better wheels than Chris Leak, but when you say, all right, he throws a pretty ball.
Yeah, it is. It's maybe not quite as high as Leak's, but it's a nice ball. It's real close.
Does he run out of bounds to avoid contact?
Oh, bull. Oh, bull.
You slide 2 yards short on 3rd down.
Dang it, Bill. I was going to go there too, and I was trying to be nice.
No mercy, Dave.
I don't know. I don't see that. But, I even like when he took the ball down. He made some plays where it's like, too, not forcing it in there, too, like young quarterbacks can do. So, I'm taking competition away from it. I thought it was a good first test for him, just in that situation of a game and doing what he did.
Hey, Dave, and piggybacking on that, first of all, Bull Gator, that's a great point on Trell Jones, and I should have mentioned him earlier as a bright spot. And I think you also have to look at it like, even though Napier has started slowly in recruiting, and we just still have not gotten to where it needs to be, as it pertains to quarterback, you can't expect much more than a guy like Trell Jones to come in with Lagway being so young and on the roster. You're not going to have back-to-back elites at Florida, probably not anywhere, maybe occasionally at Ohio State or a Texas or something. But I just don't think you could be recruiting much better at quarterback at this point through these last 2 cycles.
Yeah. I like
One thing that Bill said before, and I wanted to once again piggyback on him, but when and you said it, brought it up also, had to do with contact, and that was watching DJ kind of absorb some hits in the first, I would say, 5 to 10 offensive plays. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? Get rid of the ball. This is LIU. You do not need to take any contact.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of instinct in there. But yeah, given everything we've dealt with this offseason, get rid of the ball. Run out of bounds. I'm fine with any of it. What's up, Dave? Well, Surdic popped in, but I don't hear him.
Dave's calling collect from prison.
I know Newth's gotten here back again, too. Newth, if you had anything.
Tell James to hit accept on the top of the screen.
He did. He's in
I was
here.
just going to say about, I was going to talk about Trell Jones and just how we should feel more comfortable maybe with Lagway and especially goal line, using his legs and his size. Like we're kind of, him and Ball and goal line could feed families. You know, it's just like Ball is just a house in itself. But if we could figure out some way to incorporate Lagway in that goal line, would be lethal.
Yeah, for sure.
Can y'all hear me now?
I got you, Dave. Yep. And hey, shout out to Ball too. Now, I mean, it's in relation to, you know, where I was kind of disappointed with the offensive line, but man, he made some guys miss. He made some runs where they probably were a little bit harder than they had to be. But it definitely shows the ability that we saw from last year's spring game, from the first time we saw Jaden Ball of, I'm going to make guys miss. I'm going to spin. I'm going to run them over. I can do both and find my way to the end zone.
He looked like He-Man out there. He looked like he was playing on defense because all the defensive guys were playing like that. And he's out there doing the stiff arm and all that, knocking guys over. He got everything he wanted. He looked a hell of a lot better than Jacoby, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt any of that. Yeah, sorry. I was trying to figure out this new thing with Discord. Yeah. It's a new thing, but yeah, I was hearing some of the things that you guys were talking about, and Kurt, his brother came by our tailgate, and he was just coming by just to chat or whatever, show support, whatever. And we were talking to him, and he didn't have any like exact words. So this isn't like the exact words that came out of his mouth or anything like that. But like the way that he was talking and how we were talking to him, he even told us himself, he's like, Napier's probably not going to be the type of guy to try to like exactly run up the score against these guys or anything like that. So it sounded like more of like that he wasn't going to run the full offense against them because he just knew that they were so much of an overpowered team, especially against LIU, that he didn't like, I guess, want to give away a lot of the playbook because you don't want to do that anyway. So that's kind of what I took away from how Kurt was talking to us. But I mean, of course, everybody can make their own judgment and their own assessment from it, and that's fine. But like to me, it sounded like that they weren't going to go full offense on LIU when he was talking to us.
Yeah, I mean,
so he only went 5 of the 7 plays.
I think there's I think there's a lot of truth in that. It's just okay. If it is those 5, and I'm being facetious here, if it's those 5, 6, 7 plays, just run them better.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we're being this vanilla, we shouldn't have any issues running this vanilla offense. I mean, it should be our bread and butter. It should be second nature, especially against the opponent. And with us struggling like we did, that makes it even worse that we were holding back and we were still struggling. I mean, and I use struggling loosely. I don't mean like struggling, but just the little things that we talked about.
I think, first, I don't think, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm going to assume this. I don't think there's any panic yet at all. I mean, it's game 1. It is what it is. We know what this offseason dealt with at the quarterback spot. Just get better.
Yeah, it's just we're just nitpicking because that's what we do. We're looking at the things or talking about the certain things that we saw that we think are going to need to get better, next week and then especially in 2 weeks.
Yeah. This game can live in its own window for right now.
And I'll even say this: it's not like Billy Napier didn't take off. When DJ Lagway played Samford, it's not like he didn't take the head off the offense when he was out there against them. So we know DJ Lagway can do it against inferior opponents. It's like that's why I didn't really take too much away from the offense and how it looked. The one thing that and I'm sure you guys have discussed this, so we're not going to probably not have to go over that anymore. It was the offensive line giving up the pressures.
Yeah.
I would say like Trace Mack missing the field goals. Those were the only two bad things I took away from that game. But other than that, like I don't think anything else was like too much to look into, really.
Those two things just,
Well-
ping the alarms. That's all they do. It's just, okay, there we go. Like, I mean, Bill said it earlier. It's just some of the things we saw under Napier before with the special teams and the right tackle spot. It's things that we've just mentioned before, even before the LIU game, that, okay, well, right now, there's still some questions.
I was also
well,
offended by
well,
LIU's uniforms.
Yeah. And I don't even want to sound the alarm bells about Trace Mack. I think that's way, way, way too early, too. So,
Well, I agree, but kickers are funny. They're kind of like hitters in baseball.
yeah.
They can be streaky, and if they get in a slump and it gets in their head, then it's not a good. I mean, he's been a really good, consistent kicker. So for him to miss three kicks, that's a little. I mean, it could be nothing. It could just him working out the kinks. But I have seen in years past, kickers can go in slumps, kind of like baseball, like hitters, and so hopefully it's not. Hopefully it was just a one-off game and everything's fine. But that is something we should at least monitor. If he comes out and starts missing a kick every game, then it's when is that kick going to be the possible game tying or game winning kick? I mean, it's just food for thought.
Yeah. Let me get BJ in here and then Symbiote. Go ahead, BJ.
Do you need me to drop? I can drop if somebody needs to come up.
No, you're good. You're good, Dave. You're good.
I just thought it was pretty striking how much better I guess than I read the other back.
BJ, you're really hard to understand. You were sounding much better earlier.
Sorry about that. I had to drop off there. So is it better?
Nope, it's still really muffled. I'm sorry.
I'll be back.
Okay. All right, Symbiote, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, like, we had our woes in that game for sure, but at least we're not Bama and lost to a 2-10 team from last week.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, I was wanting to zoom out soon before I come off of that, but man, I tell you, it's that was certainly the most surprising. I mean, not only win, it really was the most surprising win, but just the most surprising performance. Of the whole weekend. FSU they put it on Bama. I mean, look, I thought the way the game was play out, the way I said last week, I thought it would play out. Bama would jump up quick and then FSU would settle down, but it'd be like a 2-score game the whole way through. Bama jumped up quick, and that was about it. That was about it.
Bama looks like they're not physical, and they look really poorly coached to me. They do not look very disciplined, very physical. I mean, FSU. I mean, granted, FSU likely is better than they were last year. I mean, obviously we saw that, but they don't look very very big. There was no reason that they should have been pushing around Alabama like they were. Not with the talent that Alabama has.
Yeah, I was actually
nonchalant.
I was actually in a Florida State space talking to them because I know a couple of the Florida State guys, and I said, "Look, you don't want to take anything away from FSU because they look vastly improved from 2-10. Like they honestly do. Like you can't get any worse than 2-10, but they look vastly improved. At the same time, I also said that like Kalen DeBoer's not Nick Saban, and that program, they did lose to Oklahoma Vanderbilt last year. It hasn't looked the same since he's taken over. But you don't want to take away what Florida State did because they look vastly improved from 2-10. That's all
for sure.
I said.
I'm giving them credit for sure. I mean, I picked Bama, so I've got to give the other side credit. I mean, that was. Don't get me wrong. Bama does not look traditional Bama. I still thought Bama was better, and FSU looked better Saturday.
Hey, look, all I'm gonna say is Tommy said what he said, and he stood on business.
He did. He did.
Yeah, now we can't make fun of him anymore.
No.
But then again, Alabama's always had their struggles against dual threat quarterbacks. So.
Yeah.
I just think it was a lack of physicality that surprised me. Like you could tell that was a far cry from a Nick Saban coach team.
Definitely, and Gus Malzahn is back to his bag.
Yeah, I will say I'm pretty sure you guys have talked about this because I got in here kind of late. But like, so I had talked to Nick and some other people that have kind of like I guess Nick sees more of the practices than a lot of the other media people do now that he's at Florida Victoria. But he was telling me he's like, yeah, and you know Nick, he's gonna just tell you straight up. He's like, he even told me Vernell Brown was.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, he's looking good. And sure enough, like last night, I mean, I haven't seen wiggle and speed like that in a while.
Yeah, we talked about him earlier, Dave. It's been a while, Antonio Callaway, since I think we could sit there and pinpoint a freshman at that position that can do those things, and hopefully it continues. But first test, he passed with flying colors at receiver, at punt returner. Ready to see more of it.
Well, Dave, one thing that affected me personally in this game, there was no officiating I could complain about.
You read my joke earlier. I was gonna go there, but there you go. No penalties. So, I mean, I don't know what you're gonna do. And Billy Napier, he better figure it out. He better figure it out. So you got something to complain about.
Hey, boy.
Hey, Dave, I know you're trying to leave here, but one question: after watching the LSU game, are you more concerned about that game, or about the same as you were?
About the same as I was. Only a blowout only a blowout either way was going to change my, thoughts. I think. I picked Clemson, so credit to LSU, kind of going, crediting other teams there. Tough place to go in and win for sure. But it's not like I didn't think LSU could win the game. So if it's, to me, the only team that really changed my expectations, was Florida State. And I thought they would be better, and they might be even better than I thought they would be in coming around. But it's week one, so we'll see what this means for everybody. But if we're going to, let's just call it quote unquote overreaction to week one. FSU's maybe even better than I thought they would improve to. No, I mean I still pegged them for like an 8-4 team at best. All right, now maybe they get to 9-3. With that performance over Bama. But for LSU, no, not yet. It's still about, the same to me. They'll just, I guess, now have a little bit they'll just have one less loss than I thought they would.
They looked a little better on defense for the one game, and they got to prepare for, all off season. So, like I said,
that's another thing about all these week one games. These teams get months to prepare for this opponent, and when it's a big game like that, all the attention is going to that big game. So we'll see how they bounce back. But I will say, maybe the scariest thing that comes from that game. All right, they may have figured out Harold Perkins.
Yeah, I'm just about to say. It looks like they found a spot for him.
Yeah, that's my biggest takeaway in that game.
Real quick, how about Trey Wilson having negative yardage and a touchdown?
That was an odd stat. Yeah, odd for sure.
Can I do a follow up on that LSU thing real quick?
Yep. Let me get BJ in next after this one. Yep.
All right. What do you think about Texas now? Considering that they're playing nothing but cupcakes until they play.
That's a good question. I just talked about teams that maybe changed my expectation. Okay, maybe a little bit for Texas. Look, I think. I know it's tough, but Ohio State had a bunch of new OC, new DC, replacing a lot of players on defense. Now they still had the best defensive player in the country with Caleb Downs, and he certainly made his presence felt in what I could see of the game. But just in general, if you're supposed to be the guy, that Arch Mannings's supposed to be, you don't have that stat line in the third, early fourth quarter. I know eventually made some things happen to make it more of a game. And defenses looks like they're ahead of offenses right now. But to me, if you're supposed to be the guy that everybody thinks you're supposed to be, that stat line does not look like that in that game. So can he still be good? Sure. Can he still be really good? Sure. But to be, put on that pedestal that maybe he was put on, I think it's certainly time to take him off of that.
Yeah, freshman Tim Tebow wouldn't have done that.
So Archie Manning is not going to win the Heisman. He's not getting your Heisman ballot, your vote. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll stick with that. He wouldn't get mine anyway. But BJ, you
Yeah,
back now?
He definitely looked young.
Yeah. No, you good, man.
Hey, I'm back. Can you hear me better now?
Oh, there we go. Yep.
I appreciate it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how much better Ball looked than really all the other backs. And are we worried that if he continues to be ascendant and separating himself from the rest of the pack, like he looked last night, are we worried that Billy's going to be too slavish to the rotation rather than letting him be the feature back?
From what I've heard, he does not care about that. And that's Ball, by the way. He is more willing to be a team player than maybe some say for running back. I think me knowing that, I don't think so. I think he's true, and him and Jacoby are really, really good friends. That's another thing that goes a long way in that. So, but you're right. He's certainly I knew Florida would get down the depth chart at running back. I expected, this is not an indictment on Katie Daniels or anything. It's just like, I expected some of the talk about, he's the home run hitter and all that kind of stuff. I maybe expected against LIU one of those type of runs, and we didn't get it. I thought Jacoby looked okay at times, but Ball really just, bowled over some guys, made some guys miss, stiff arm. I mean, it's just he was the complete package on Saturday night, and you saw that. But no, I don't think so. I don't have a worry about a discontent from Jaden Ball.
Yeah, I just worry that Billy will, rely on the other guys too much, even if he's a hot hand and take him out of the game just to, because of his devotion to more of a rotation.
Yeah, to that part of it now, as far as I was kind of going maybe the way you I thought maybe Jaden Ball might feel about it.
Yeah, I've never heard anything like that of Ball. I mean, other than I worry about him leaving if he doesn't get enough carries, but it doesn't sound like he's that type of guy.
Yeah,
although we've been there before.
So. But to your point about, I don't know. I don't know if there's been like a situation so far. Now, I know some people claim DTN was much better than Montreal. He wasn't much better. Were there times he was better? Sure. I think if there's it would be interesting to see if there is and I hope it doesn't come to that, because I hope Jacoby Jackson goes and has a lot of success too. But if it does get to that point where it's, all right, he's head and shoulders above, we want the ball in his hands a lot, and they still stick with the rotation, I'd be interested to see. I don't know if we've gotten that situation yet where there's such a big gap between 1 and 2. But if it somehow shows up, I would be interested to see the reaction from the staff there.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on, I think. I agree with you that the separation's not there yet, but Bob looks special to me and getting better every game.
And maybe some of that is, he's getting... we'll see if my over-under hits this year or not, but he's getting 12 carries a game. I want that 15 at least. But it's, maybe there's something to it of those guys being fresh and, and being able to perform that way.
Spirito got his touchdown too.
Late game
Spirito
heroics.
over starter, baby.
Yeah. Again, you were talking about Trell Jones earlier, but he was on the receiving end of that,
Yeah. Hey, look, and I'll comment a little bit about the Trell Jones thing. It's like I get it was LIU, but usually, like when a true freshman comes in, you'll see some sort of mistakes, right? Because he doesn't really know the offense that well, and he just got there and all that, and he looked sharp. He looked really sharp.
And that's a good point too, Dave. I didn't even bring it up when we talked about him earlier. But it did look like he. I said he was comfortable, but I do like the part maybe even comfortable in the playbook. And like I said, he was limited in spring because he was coming off that injury last year in high school, and then trying to have to close that gap really, really fast with Warner and Bailey, who did go through spring. And here we are in fall camp, and first game of the season, there's Trell Jones as your backup quarterback.
Dan Mullen would have started Aiden Warner.
What's even more impressive is Jones hasn't played football in damn near 2 years.
Yeah. Nope. All right. I do want to zoom. Let's do a couple more minutes here, and then I'll sign off. But we went that route a little bit, but did the schedule just get harder, guys? I mean, with FSU now and Miami's win over Notre Dame, and I picked that one anyway. So, like I said, my expectation doesn't really change all that much. But I saw Joel Klatt, top 10, and half of the top 10 are Florida opponents, and I think Tennessee was in there as well. I cautioned about Tennessee. They did the same thing against NC State last year. They opened up the season against that ACC team. And don't get me wrong, I know they ended up making the college football playoff, but it was not a signal of their offense. Now, admittedly, I got to go back and watch a little bit more of Tennessee-Syracuse. But, good win for them. I thought Tennessee would win that game. But, who knows what Syracuse is and everything they lost in Fran Brown's second year. You put Tennessee, you put FSU, Texas, and Miami. I mean, it's Georgia, of course, and yeah. I mean, for how the weekend played out, you don't dock Texas too much for the loss to Ohio State. Georgia manhandled Marshall like they should have. FSU gets the big win. Miami gets the big win. Tennessee gets a win. It certainly, of what was already, in some eyes, the toughest schedule in the country, probably did just get a little bit harder. And here we go.
Yeah,
I mean, overreaction for week one again, but man, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, once again, week one. So
I looked at the schedule, Dave. I think every single team on our schedule had a win this weekend. Every single team. Is that right?
No, Texas
Did
lost.
I miss one?
Texas lost.
Oh, Texas lost. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn near.
No, but you're right. I mean, a lot of people were putting Kentucky on upset alert. They win. Texas A&M was a little scary.
They look bad.
They did. You're right. Texas A&M was a little scary too, and they pulled away in the fourth quarter. So there was some up and downs. It did seem like the teams that were playing the overmatched opponents didn't necessarily look all the best, but won their games. And then you had the big wins in the big games. Besides Texas and Ohio State.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I was impressed by the atmosphere in Miami last night. It's a national game, of course, but that place was rocking, it looked like.
They can get up for games. Maybe the last time, when they played, what was it, Notre Dame in 2017 too? Well, a lot of people point to that game and they just blew the doors off of Notre Dame. So it was a crazy atmosphere there, but. Don't get me wrong, it is few far between, but they can. It's just, it's they don't it's not 100%. If it's not going good there, it gets really, really ugly. But when they got some when they got some mojo behind them, that place can become good every couple years or so. I mean, we'll see again.
50-50 when we're down there.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, because it's an easy drive for Florida fans to make it. So it's so funny. I know Florida fans, because of the ticket situation, they'll buy season tickets to Miami game just to get the Florida ticket. Because it's cheap. It's just cheap.
It's going to be a 50-50 split, eh?
Miami, but it'd probably be 60-40 Miami or something like that. There'll be a ton of Gator fans there, but with Miami being good, like if Miami was, a 7-8 win team, it'd be majority Florida fans. But given Miami is good, I expect their fan base to show up.
How about BB3's catch only being one up the next day by Miami's?
I know, and a prayer too. Like Lagway was making a play and BB3 making a play. Beck should have never thrown that ball to begin with, and that's what happens.
I thought that was getting intercepted.
I did too. I think everybody thought that ball was getting intercepted, and the Notre Dame safety did too. Till Daniel jumps up and snatches it out of the air.
Yeah, I'm a Gator fan, but I got to give him credit. I think it was a little bit better than BB3's, only because it's for a touchdown. And,
yeah.
He snagged it, palmed it out of the air.
And South Florida won too. Let's not forget our next opponent.
Yep.
I did not anticipate. Well, Boise State looked terrible, but still, South Florida Bulls were definitely chirping out there. They're coming in here expecting to win.
Yeah, I'm just here's points to those games, and I'll just explain the points throughout the weeks. That's the next game. Of course, got to tackle. We know Brown, their quarterback, can just do some damage there if you're not ready for that. Play a clean game. Boise State helped them out a whole lot with turnovers. And they do have a tenacious attacking style of defense. And that's what we'll be previewing throughout this week. So there's your tease. There's your tease. Hey, and by the way, I can't have a better guest this week. Everybody knows Seth Varnador covers
Oh,
USF.
yes.
Seth covers USF as well. So Seth and I have already got it on the books. He will be on Gators Breakdown this week. So if you saw his film review of the Gator game, it's out there on his Varnador Films YouTube page. But he covers USF as well. He was in the stadium last Thursday for the matchup against Boise. So we'll have a great preview of Florida, South Florida this week with Seth.
Here's an interesting question, Dave. So I think this might be the first time we had no penalties in a very long time.
I think it was put out there, but yeah, I don't know when the last time that was.
Yeah, I think Neil Blackman put out a stat that said like 0 points, 0 penalties, and then 0 something else. I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was 0 points, 0 penalties.
No.
There was one more 0, and whatever that was, it was the first time it was done in history for Florida.
So the last time we had 0 penalties was 2001. I heard that today.
Okay,
I
okay.
can't remember who it was.
Let me see if I can find it in the notes Florida sent. I don't think it was, but let me see.
I'll go ahead and give a comment on like USF. I'm to a point now to where like as a fan, we're 4 years in. Napier's got his guys in, and he upgraded the talent level. Granted, it's still not where I guess I want it to be as a fan, but I know it's still good enough to compete with everybody, and especially this year. But I'm to a point now to where it's like I think the spread is like close to 21. I think it was like 18 or something like that. I'm to where it's like, okay, we got to cover the spread. It's USF. We got our guys. We got plenty of talent. There's way more talent. We have way more talent in USF. We should be able to handle it. I'm just to that point right now.
Oh, yeah. I agree. The penalty thing, this was only the second time in team history, and it was 2021 at LSU.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that was the other one.
What? No way. The 2021 no penalties? I don't believe that for a second.
that was the AR game, right? Where he came in and almost got the comeback win?
No.
Yeah, that's right.
You're going to tell me there was a game against LSU we had no penalties? There's not a chance in hell nobody has any penalties in Florida.
And it was a game that Billy Napier coached.
No.
Yeah.
That was Mullins last year.
Oh, wait. You said, yeah, my bad. You're right. 21. You're right. My bad.
But let's see. I mean, I'm sure Florida's not going to put that out there. But
Yeah, that was the AR game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. All the all orange unis.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that was the game where like
49-42.
AR had a touchdown just about every drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was the game where Emory Jones almost killed. I forget his name. He went to USF after he left us. I forget his name.
Wharton.
I don't think it was Wharton.
No, he went to UCF.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. I do know he was a white wide receiver. I forget his name though.
Yeah, what was his name? His brother came.
He was good
for
too.
a hot minute and then left.
Geez, why am I drawing a blank on that?
Yeah, I know.
Jeez, oh well.
Yeah, he was a good wide receiver. That was the receiver. I was at that game, and I'm just like, Emory, you just had to throw that like a second sooner. He's gone. You killed the man.
You talking about Whittemore?
Whittemore, there you go.
Jeez. Yeah.
God, I knew it was a W, but I couldn't get to it. Yeah.
I was going to say that, and I'm like, no.
Dang.
Whittemore, that's the man. I thought he was actually pretty good. I was actually surprised that we didn't use him more.
I'm just kind of glad we're to a point now to when we play like an inferior opponent like LIU, we're not giving up yardage.
Yeah. It was
Touchdown,
bad
North
as
Carolina.
Okay, there we go. I was about to go turn it on. Yeah, as bad as defense has been, Dave, that was I didn't really care who it was. I mean, we've seen how ugly it can get on that side of the ball. There we go, guys. But hey, good chat. Good. Like I said, I know it's Monday night. It's kind of just been Labor Day, but this is kind of the format we'll follow on Sunday evenings during the season. So, hope you guys are looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I had to jump in here, man, because I haven't been here in a while. So
Yeah. Good stuff.
Appreciate it, Dave.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for
Dave.
hopping in, guys.
Appreciate
Go
it, man.
Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
okay.